In this video we're going to look at the difference between simple interest and compound interest and how those two different types of interest rates can affect the final amount which you have invested. In the first question, an investment of £304 earns 10% simple interest for 5 years. How much is it worth? So after 5 years, how much is it going to be worth? Obviously it's going to be more than 304, and because it's simple interest, this means it's just the same amount every time that you're adding on. So at the end of each year we'll be adding on 10% of 304, nothing else. So if we start with year 1, we have got £304 and we want to find 10%. So whatever way you use for finding percentage amount, go with it. You can use a bubble method, you can go straight to a calculator, use a decimal. What I'm going to do is I'm going to say that 100% is equal to 304. So 10%, I've divided the 100 by 10 to get 10%. So I'll divide 304 by 10, which comes to £30 and 40p. You can check it on your calculator if you have any doubts on that one. So that's what 10% is. That means that at the end of year 1 I will have £304 plus £30.40, which is then equal to £334.50. So a nice return on my investment. I'm going to do the same for year 2, year 3, year 4 and year 5 to find out what's it worth at the end of 5 years. So year 2, this will be a lot quicker this time because it's simple interest. It's the same amount every year that I need to add on. So I'm getting 10% of the original amount still. So it's 10% of £304. So start of year 2 we've got £334 now and 40p. And I'm adding on to that 10%, which is £30 and 40. So at the end of year 2 we now have £364.40. So again, it's the same amount. It's 10% of the 304 that I add on at the end of every year. So year 3 will simply be 364 now I'm starting with, and the 40p plus the £30 and 40p. Oh, this should be 80, apologies. So I have my 40 and 40 here, so this should be 80. So £364.80 plus the £30.40, I'll have 20p plus £395. So that's the end of year 3. For year 4, that's what I start off with now. So 395 and 20p plus the £30.40, same amount again. It's that same 10% every time. So I'll now have £425.60p. And lastly, because if you go back to it, it did say for 5 years. So in the 5th year, we start off with £425.60. We add on the £30 and 40p, same amount every time. So my new amount will be £456 no pence. So that was my final amount into the 5 years, £456. That was simple interest. The clue was in the title. It was very simple. Once we found that 10%, that's what we're adding on every time. When it comes to the next question, an investment of £809 earns 20% interest, which is compounded. So that's the important bit. We've got compound interest this time. Annually, which if you didn't know is per year, for 4 years. So how much is it worth at the end of that 4 years? Just a couple of things here. If it mentions compound interest, that is interest on the interest. That is good. If you're investing money, you want compound interest. It means you're getting more money back. Annually, as I said, make sure you're aware of it. That is per year. No big deal on that one. So on this one, what's going to happen with it? It's for 4 years. I'm going to start it off. I'm not going to finish it. I'll show you the first method, but like I said, I'm not going to finish it because it is the longer method. If you wish to continue with it, you can, but I will show you the shorter method after I've done the longer one. So year 1, we have got £809, and it's 20% increase we're looking at. So in terms of this one, again we can do what we similarly did over here. 100% equals £809. So 10%, we're dividing by 10. So we'll divide this by 10 as well. So 10% equals £8.90p. But it's not 10% we're looking for this time, it's the 20%. So all we need to do is double the 10%, which is £161.80. So at the end of the first year, we have got £809 plus the £161.80, which comes to £970.80. So now the second year, and we're just going to finish with the second year. Second year, I'm going to start off with what we finished with, 970.80. But unlike on the previous one where we started off with what we finished, previously we added on that same amount every time. We're not going to do that this time, because on this one it's compound interest. So we need to get 20% of this amount. We're finished with the 16180 now. That one's done. So we want 20% of this. So again, 100% is equal to 970.80. 10%. So we need to divide both of them by 10. Is going to be £97.08. But again, it's 20% of it that we want. So double this. and that will come to £194.16. We're just going to pause at that, because at the moment now, if you look at year 1 and year 2, year 1, the interest that we got back was £161.80. In year 2, it's even more. It's about £30 more. So that's the advantage of compound interest. You're getting interest on the interest, so you're going to get more back as you go down through the years. I'm not going to do year 3, but I would estimate that year 3 is going to be even in the 200s. Year 4, maybe 250, 260 or so. So it's increasing a lot on that first year where we're only getting £161.80. But to finish this off, at the end of year 2, we're going to have £970.80, which is what we started the year with. And we're going to add on our interest of £194.16. This one I will have to do on a calculator. So 970 plus the 194, and our pence is £1,164.96. So you'll notice that we've gone now from, just in 2 years, £809 to 970 to 1,164. So with a compound interest, it increases at a far quicker rate. You can continue with this method if you wish. It might be the more straightforward for you. Year 3, year 4. I'm going to show you how to do it the quicker way. You can do it all in one go. So this is your alternative method. We started off with 20%. And that 20% was being, because it's compound interest, it's being added on to what you start off with. And you always start off with 100%. So that's 120% when we added two of them together. What I want to do is change this 120% into a decimal. Whenever you want to change a percent into a decimal, divide it by 100. So our decimal is 1.2. 1.2 is what we call our multiplier, and we're going to use it in the formula as shown. Whatever you start off with, which is the £809, multiply it by this multiplier here, 1.2, and the trick of it is put this to the power of whatever the time period is. So the time period is 4 years, and equals. What you should note on this bit here is here's an indice, so we want to do the indice before we do the multiplication. It might help in your calculator if you're doing this in one go to put it into brackets like so. I'll do it a little bit slower. What we'll do is, let's just do the bit in the brackets first and see what that is. So it's 1.2, and I want to get to the power of 4. You notice in your calculator we've got squares to the power of 2, we've got cubes to the power of 3, but there's no power of 4. So what we use is this YX button. So press our YX, and we want to put it to the power of 4, and equals that. So 1.2 to the power of 4 is equal to 2.736. The last step is multiplied by the by the 809. And our answer comes to just over 1,600. So 1,677.5424. Always write down all the digits that the calculator displays. it's money. If it's money, you're rounding to 2 decimal places. So because this 2 is under 5, we leave the 4 as it is. So it comes to £1,677 and 54p. So if you were to keep going with this one for another 2 years, it will come to that amount. But obviously this method, which is just shown here, it's a lot quicker, a lot less writing. You essentially got 2 calculations there. Once you've got that multiplier, straightforward calculator use after that. What I would suggest is see if you can finish off this. So do the final 2 years on the compound interest. See if you still get £1,677 and 54 pence, and then have a go at using this. Work out your calculator and see what you can do with the worksheet.